So thank you all for coming to today's meeting, October, what am I looking at here? November 17th. I gotta make sure I got the right agenda in front of me. I spit it out a minute ago. November 17th at 5:30. Flag salute. So I guess we'll go with the flag salute as I call this meeting to order. Shoot, I'm gonna make sure I got the right agenda. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. I got a kind of funny delay here. I can barely hear you guys. Let me see. Okay, materials for the commission will be available public. So I'd like to roll call. Please recite who's in attendance. I can't see well.
I can call them out.
Okay, thank you.
Carpenter? Are you present? McCollum, Anderson here, Tucker here, and Ricker
Here.
and Bergman.
Present. Okay, thank you for that. We have approval of today's agenda. Can we get a motion?
I'll move approval of the agenda for today.
And that was that David?
Yes.
Okay. Get a second?
Ricker seconds.
Okay. Agenda's approved. Approval of meeting minutes for October 27th. Can we get a motion to approve those meeting minutes?
I move that we approve the minutes from the October 27th meeting of the
Great.
Park Commission.
Tucker will second.
Okay. So all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay. At this point, we're into public comment. Do we have any public comment? Hearing none, we'll close public comment. Okay, so we're on to item 6. Report of Director Administrator to discuss Board of Supervisors action and progress on items heard by the Parks Commission, upcoming events and future agenda, schedule, staffing, fiscal and operational issues of the Parks Division. So do we have any?
We do have some things we'd like to go over with you. First of all, I want to start off with a piece of difficult news that none of us wanted to hear, but Steve Gayfield, our director, has turned in his resignation. He needs to take care of family matters back east. So his last day physically here will be tomorrow. And he may be with us remotely for a couple of weeks. That's still being worked out, but that's just news we got the other day, and we're all trying to kind of come to grips with that. Very unfortunate. Steve was godsend to us, fit in very well. Things began working really well. So you can keep him in your thoughts and prayers as he goes back east.
Okay.
Also want to make you aware, and I meant to have some flyers. We'll get those before you go or email them to you. But we're planning on having a virtual town hall Zoom meeting Monday night at 6 o'clock. It'll be a 1-hour meeting. And the topic is Bear River. We have staff at the county and staff at the California Department of Fish and Wildlife have come up with a draft memorandum of understanding that would offer the county's services for day use going forward the next 1 to 2 years. So it would be a method of continuing basic service, patrol, trash pickup, bathroom cleaning, things like that, while the state has an opportunity to look at longer term plans for that property that they do own. So we'll be going over the details of that memorandum. We do expect, we wanted to be able to roll out what the plan was to the public before it got to the board. We anticipate that memorandum going to our board on November 29th, I believe. Is that right, Tracy? November 29th. So we did put our heads together. A lot of the input received at the town hall meeting in Colfax was concern over the dropping of services So we've come up with a method to continue those services and buy a couple of years while both agencies look at what a long-term management plan may look like for that property. So we'll make sure we get the link to you for that town hall. Do want to give a shout out to some of our folks who this week, Dan Fauner, our superintendent, and a couple of our folks are down at the California Park and Rec Society Pacific Southwest Maintenance Management School, where Dan is a teacher down there. He's on the faculty in charge of the first year students. It's a 3-year program teaching maintenance management to up and coming professionals. And we've taken a couple of our staff down there every year to go through the 3-year program. We're continuing that. Great exposure to the industry, to other folks in the trade, making contacts, and just a great way to learn how to budget and manage parks. So, and I'm just really proud of Dan being willing to be on the faculty down there and share his expertise. The board took action on, believe it was October 25th, to officially rename Olympic Valley Park and Olympic Valley Trail. So we've made changes to our website. We're working now. One of the more difficult physical things to do, we have it engraved into a rock in the front, the name of the park. And so we're trying to figure out how to change that, but we're making all those changes. So that's official now. It took effect the day of the action that the board took. We're also still in the process of recruiting for an associate planner. Unfortunately, we've kind of exhausted the list that was open. We made interview offers to 3 different folks, and 2 of them had already accepted other offers and 1 declined for unstated reasons. So unfortunately, we're back to the drawing board looking for other opportunities, but we do want to fill that important position because the workload is huge for Ted and Lisa. So hopefully we will be getting an opportunity to fill that position, give you some good news in January. And that's all I had on the administrator's report.
Okay. Do any commissioners have any questions in regards to the administrator's report?
Well, yeah, I had a question. So with Steve leaving, so the search for a new director starts all over?
Yes. Yeah, and how that'll be done and when it will be done, I think all of that is yet to be known. Our CEO, Jane Christensen, who is now officially the CEO, she accepted the position. She's been acting CEO since May, I believe. And she's back with some of the board members in Washington, D.C. this week. So she probably has not had a whole lot of time to even digest or think about it.
Gotcha. Do we have any other comments for Andy? I have a quick question. Did Palisades Tahoe change the Olympic sign at the entrance to the valley? Do you know which one I'm speaking of? That colorful one that's been there since a long time?
They made one initial change when the name of their resort changed, and they're also in right now with an application. Those signs are both on county property, so they do need a permit from the county to change those signs, and they have an application in right now to change them.
You know, the bluish signs with all the colorful emblems and stuff on it.
Yes.
Okay, so they're going to revise that to reflect the new name of the valley, primarily, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Okay, do we have any additional comments for Andy in regards to that? Hearing none. Okay, I guess we'll go on to the next item. Which is, well, okay, do we want to quick review the dedication fee program? The dollar amounts there?
If I may, I'd like to just draw your attention to Area 7 and Area 15. Those are the 2 areas that'll be the subject of our action item tonight. This is an updated October report. The staff report that deals with the proposed use of these fees was from September, so we've gotten a little bit more money in these accounts since then. But those are the 2 key accounts that we'll be looking at tonight as in our next item with proposed funding for the Newcastle school. So Loomis Basin, area number 7, presently has $560,683 in it, and Ophir Newcastle has $366,666 in it, slightly up by a few thousand each from last month.
Okay, do we have any comments relative to the dedication fee status? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to the next item. So any information items since the agenda declares none at this point? Is there anything else anybody'd like to bring up before we get into the action item number 9? Hearing none, we'll move to action item number 9, park dedication fee request for Newcastle Elementary School field improvements. Recommend the County Board of Supes approve the use of the park dedication fees in the amount of $340,000 for recreation area number 15, for Newcastle area, and $185,000 for renovation of the soccer field at Newcastle Elementary in Newcastle. So there's adequate funds to cover this. Andy, do you want to elaborate on that at all?
I would. This is a rehearing of an item that you took up last March, I believe, with a recommendation for dedication of $150,000 to the renovation of the Newcastle Field School. Before I get started with an introduction, I do want to introduce Denny Rush, Superintendent of the Newcastle Elementary School District, and Sue Waselius, who is a project manager consultant working on the Newcastle Field project. I will remind you as well, at the time that you heard the item in March, Supervisor Holmes did provide a letter of support for this project. At that time, we asked for $150,000 to renovate the field in Newcastle, to orient you to that field. If you're familiar with Taylor Road, just as you go under the big tunnel in Newcastle and come out on Taylor Road, a left-hand turn will take you into Kentucky Greens Drive. And right there is the Newcastle School. And this is what it looks like in overhead. The green on this is colored in because today it's not a grass field. It's been graded in the past, but has not had turf or irrigation installed. So it's a great opportunity to take an existing graded field, bring in the irrigation, bring in the turf. The Loomis Youth Soccer Club came to the school district and to the county, I guess probably a year and a half ago at this point, asking what opportunity there may be for additional field play for the leagues that are still growing and looking for fields in the Loomis Newcastle area. They were aware of this area. They talked to the school, the county, talked to the school district and the league, and just thought this project has good idea written all over it. At the time, our staff was renovating fields in the Granite Bay Loomis area with, as part of the major maintenance regimen for those fields, taking out older rye fescue and installing water saving Bermuda. We do have the equipment to do that. And so the first way that we envision this project is that our staff would come on and be able to do that. And we believe, based on our experience in other fields, including a pretty sophisticated pump system here, that we could do that for about $150,000. As we went further into the project, the school district has stepped up with higher level design. They've provided cost estimation. And as we got closer to the board, council pointed us toward some public contract code provisions that may require us to do a standard design bid build just because of thresholds of self-performance. And so what we're proposing tonight is to allocate enough money to be able to do a standard design bid build project to make sure that the project gets done. We're still looking for creative ways to save money, to be able to, alternate performance methods, value engineering of the project, but it's such a good project. We do have funds available between Ophir, Newcastle, and Loomis, with the nexus that it's the Loomis Youth Soccer Club asking in the first place to use the field. So we believe that there's a good solid nexus between both the Loomis fees and the Ophir Newcastle fees. Ophir has expressed their support for this project. We have not had an opportunity because of canceled MAC meetings to go to the Horseshoe Bar Penryn MAC. We do plan on attending that meeting in January. But we believe that we could use the necessary amount of fees out of this district that we're requesting and still be able to do some of the things we have on the horizon out of Loomis, which is a bathroom at Sterling Point and drainage improvements at Loomis Park. And there really are not any other folks with projects that we're aware of, like the school districts at Del Oro or anything. We've given them quite a bit of money in the past. I think they don't have any other requests in for Loomis area fees. So we do believe that we can remain whole and not take away from the other projects that we're recommending. And so with that, we're recommending the appropriation of 300 and get my numbers straight in front of me. $340,000 from Area 15 Ophir Newcastle and $185,000 from Recreation Area 7 Loomis Basin, for a total of,
Okay.
I get my math right, 525,000. So it covers
525.
So it covers the engineer's estimate of 506,000 plus some contingency if needed. So we'd have 525 in the bank. Part of this recommendation we have before you and would continue to the board would be if there is any savings, that the Loomis account, because they are a little further away, would see the first $100,000 of savings, up to the first 100,000 go back into the Loomis account, and then any thereafter would go into back to the Ophir account. So if we can still find a way to really streamline this, we will, and any savings go directly back into those accounts.
Gotcha. So it looks like that will pretty much nail the balance of Fund 15 for Ophir.
It does take Area 15 down almost to nothing. Yeah, just to a few $1,000s left.
Okay.
Question, Andy, in the recommendation, do we need to insert after $185,000 area, specifically note Area 7? Because to me, it doesn't.
In a motion, yeah.
185,000 comes from.
You know, the one I have in front of me does say from Recreation Area 7. I know that was a typo that we inserted. So let me make sure that but the answer is yes. We do need to specify after 185,000 that it comes from Recreation Area 7.
Yeah, I gotta fix mine. Okay. Commissioners, do we have any comments?
I have a question. Was this revision taken to any of the max, or did they not have an opportunity yet because of the quick changes to look at this?
Yeah, both of them canceled their November meetings, so we're not able to, but we will take them.
Yeah, it's up to us, huh?
That's right.
So, but there's no one else who has stood up for the Oprah fund and saying, gee, we'd like some of that money. We hate to see it all go to this project. We haven't heard any of that. Is that correct?
We have not. The previous request left half of the money in that account. We do know that there is, you know, a group of folks who would like to see some development of a piece of property by the Lozanos Bridge turned into a passive park. And so the impact of this would be that project would have to wait a little longer. I don't foresee that being a very expensive project. I could see it being something we'd partner with a school district potentially with. So I don't think it would take a terribly long time to build up enough money to do that project, but it may have to push it out several months, a year perhaps.
Gotcha. I mean, and what's the potential for Fund 15? I mean, in other words, what kind of growth is going on there? Are there projects in the offing that is going to generate more renewal funds for this, for number 15?
There are no major subdivisions in Area 15, but there are, I believe we seem to be getting kind of one-off infusions of money, which I would think would probably coming from secondary dwelling units, individual single-family homes, things like that. But it has been growing. It's been replenishing, not at as fast a rate as Loomis or some of the other faster growing districts. But for example, I think there was $3,000 that came in since September.
Gotcha. Well, okay, that's not bad. Something. Okay, Commissioner, do we have any other comments for Andy? Questions?
And we do have folks from the school district that may want to give a little more background on the project too, from their perspective. I don't want to put them on the spot, but since they took their evening to be with us.
Sure, if anybody would like to comment from the district.
Absolutely. The district would like to comment. We are Loomis, Penryn, Ophir. We are one. You've been out there. It's a small town. So what one part of that community can enhance the access to play fields for our kids. It really is for all of that community. When in need, we pushed into Loomis School District asking for facilities on occasion. Mr. Tooker could probably talk to that. Goes long way back. And we have Ophir that will use our gym on occasion because they don't have a gym. And we work together as a team, really to the benefit of the kids in that whole area. And to have an additional sports field to accommodate the need. What better activity? Because kids can do a lot of things. And when they're out doing something positive like soccer or little league or basketball, the whole community benefits. So we certainly support this project.
Good.
And I'd really like to thank the district for hanging with us as we've had to go through changes and all that kind of thing. And they've been very adaptable and supportive. So we thank you.
Andy, I need to tell you that my question about the Area 7, Jeremy pointed out that one of the colleagues up here pointed out that it is correct on the briefing. It was on I was reading off the agenda, and that's where I got lost.
Okay.
That being said, if you want a motion, I would be happy to make a motion to recommend to the County Board of Supervisors to approve the use of park dedication fees in the amount of $340,000 from Recreation Area 15, Ophir Newcastle area, and $185,000 from Recreation Area 7, Loomis Basin, for renovation of the soccer field at Newcastle Elementary School in Newcastle.
Do we
And I'll
need to
second
add
that.
from Fund 7 in that motion?
Area 7 is in the motion.
Oh, okay. I didn't see it on mine. Great. Okay. Do we have any comments? Can we get a second for that motion?
There is a second here.
Oh, Virgil seconded it. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, there's that. Commissioner comments.
I have a question, if I can be so bold, is when is our next meeting and can we set the calendar for next year? As far as when our meetings are?
Yeah, okay, so we'll go to item 11 and deal with that. Andy, what do you have in mind, and what kind of things are going to be presented that we need to be responsive to before they go to the supervisors?
Our next meeting would be the third Thursday in January, which I'm pulling up that date now. We do expect there may be a request from North Tahoe Public Utility District for funding for their courts at North Tahoe Regional Park. That could be coming as soon as January. And we may have some requests as well. So that will also be an election of new officers. I believe our chair, vice chair, secretary have been in those positions for 2 years.
Hmm.
So they won't necessarily need to rotate. But that next meeting then would be, let's see.
January
19th of January. Regular meeting here at 5:30.
Gotcha. And is Monday a holiday of that week? Just isn't that Martin Luther King neighborhood?
It's a good question. I don't have it.
I kind of, that sort of affects how stuff works for folks once in a while. Okay. So that sounds like, anybody have any issues with that date? Hearing none. Sounds like that's a tentative date. Good. Do we have any other comments? Commissioners? And we've already had public session. Nobody's there. Has any public showed up that we need to reconvene public comment? Doesn't sound like it. Okay. So. Got anything else, Andy?
Nothing that I know of.
Okay.
Thrifty.
All right.
meeting.
Well, I guess This was the quickest meeting I've ever participated in. Including at my home.
Driven all the way down here for it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess, do we need a motion to adjourn or shall I just adjourn the meeting?
Mr. Chairman, I move to adjourn.
Okay,
I second.
there we go. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, well, thank you all for coming and thank you all for tolerating me being, well, tolerating me not being in person is probably just fine.
It worked out fine, John.
Okay, thank you. Okay, well, nice to see you all and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.